Hello, hello. We're doing a +10 Maisara Caverns, and I'm hopefully going to be able to talk through some of my thought process as we're going through. So here I've built up to 5 shards. I'm dumping into Hand of Gul'dan, and then I'm immediately summoning my Tyrant. I like to build up to 5 shards here so that I'm able to just dump immediately into a couple of Hand of Gul'dans. I'm going to go ahead and use a few different of my abilities here, including Implosion. I want to make sure that I'm not eating one of these frog rains. And then although I did mistake there and get silenced, it should be fine. We're going to go ahead and free these guys. I'm not actually sure what route this guy's doing, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Instead of finishing that cast, I went ahead and used Tyrant since I had 2 shards. As I said before, that way I can just go ahead and dump all of my shards into... I'm going to go ahead and stop casting. That way I can dump all of my shards into using Hand of Gul'dan. Go ahead and use Shadow Fury here just to make it a little bit easier. I have to turn my pets to passive, otherwise they'll continuously attack those training dummies. I was actually getting LOS'd by the tusk on the floor. That was a little embarrassing. As before, we are building up all the way to 5 shards and just dumping. You should, ideally, be able to get, like, 4... Well, not 4. You should be able to get, like, 5 to 7... You should be able to get 5 to 7 different casts on your hog. That way you can actually get it down. I'm locked in. That's why. Here we're building up to 5 shards, dumping them on a Hand of Gul'dan, and then immediately casting our Tyrant. This one's a little awkward because we didn't get all the way up to 5 shards, so we couldn't immediately dump into 2 Hand of Gul'dans, but that's okay. You want to try not to cap your shards as often as possible, but sometimes it's a little bit more difficult depending on the situation. Here we'll be able to immediately dump into Tyrant. What you can do is if you are short on your soul fires that allow you to get an instant cast Demon Bolt out, you can instead just use the 1 because you'll automatically start with just the one charge, or rather the one hand necessary in order to grab your Dominion of Argus, or proc your Dominion of Argus. Here we're gonna go ahead and... Ooh, that was a really good idea. Here I'm gonna go ahead and stun these guys as much as I possibly can. I did overcap on my shards just there in an attempt to make sure that I'm still casting. Make sure I'm not in the bad. I'm gonna try and wait until they're all out, and then I'll be able to implosion this. I knew I was gonna be greedy in taking that, and not moving for the frog rain, so I went ahead and preemptively used my Dark Bargain. Or Dark Pact, rather. Here, we'll potion. Our Tyrant is up in 10 seconds, so we want to make sure that we do have some of our procs here. I'm gonna go an overcap on this, just so that I can make sure that I actually get an opportunity to dump my hog. I'm gonna use a unending... Here we go. Unfortunate that I didn't get the extra charge on Dominion of Argus, but that's okay. You don't want to get too greedy. I don't have any defensives for this, unfortunately. It should be fine. Now we can dump. We have a couple of our charges that we need. We should be able to get 2 more. Nice. There we go. Here we have to be careful about dispelling because of the burst off the shields. What we're going to do is we're going to Shadow Bolt once to get to 2 shards, and then we'll go ahead and dump into Tyrant. Since we're not going to be able to get another full round, we're just going to go ahead and cast it the one time. I'm going to make sure that I'm not too close to the ad on the right. Similarly, I'm going to make sure that I'm just a little bit close with the group, that way I don't accidentally pull. Here we Hand of Gul'dan into Tyrant, and then we double Hand of Gul'dan. We don't have any demonic cores, so we're a little bit rough on that one, but that should be fine. Make sure that I target the proper ad. That way I don't fuck that up. I'm gonna go ahead and stun these guys. Here's a good spot to go ahead and actually use Implosion. I probably prematurely used my Axe Toss, but that should be fine. Here we'll double Demon Bolt to make sure that we can get out our shards. It's been a while since I've actually spoken at the same time as playing. Normally I do use a I'll usually mute my microphone as I'm going through these, and then I'll and then I'll end up
Only
shit.
the strongest survive.
That was a really bad that was me. I went to go stop the orbs, and Arcane Torrent also dispels the shields, and so we just popped. I was like, I was doing that fucking Super Trooper thing where I was like, I'm doing my part, and then I just kill everybody. Now we'll never time this key. Making sure that I'm not going to side pull, which would be very disastrous. We're going to go ahead and reduce our total casts by pressing the correct order of buttons here. I should be able to get 2 more hogs out. Just enough for another proc on our Dominion of Argus, which is really good. And then we can Implosion there for a nice little burst of damage. Almost touched a ghost and got stunned. That would have been embarrassing. We're too far from the defender. That's what I was trying to cast Hand of Gul'dan on. We're going to build up to 2 shards, and then we're going to Tyrant. And then we're going to Demon Bolt immediately after we used our Hand of Gul'dan, so that we can make sure that our double hogs are going to immediately proc our Dominion of Argus, which is what we want. We should be able to get 2 more. Perfect. I'm getting a little too greedy, which I probably shouldn't be. We're gonna go ahead and interrupt that. That's not great. I stunned what I could in an attempt to assist there. Almost died there. I had full faith in you the entire time. We're gonna potion here. Perfect, perfect. There we go. I was able to get an extra cast on Dominion Vargas, which turned out pretty good. Oh. Gotta get out of the way of that. I almost died there. Perfect. We'll be able to dump immediately into a Tyrant. We won't have very many charges of Demonic Core, but that's okay. We did overcap a little bit there, but I think that's worth. Nice. I can mount up here. I should remember to do that. Well, implosion off the rip here. I'll make sure that I'm not too close to the edge. That way I don't pull the bats. And I also want to make sure that I'm not wandering too terribly close to the dudes on the right-hand side. Same as always, we Hand of Gul'dan into Tyrant into an immediate 2 Hand of Gul'dans. We should be able to get 2 more. There we go. It is unfortunately very dependent on how many demonic cores that you acquire in order to get a full set. It is a little bit easier if you're running the talent build that I currently am, which I'll post somewhere along either probably the very beginning of the dungeon or maybe at the end. I know for sure that the import code will be in the description somewhere. What is that fucking mount that you're running on, Keldormu? Dropping a soul well. Should be able to get this. There we go. Here we'll summon our imp. I don't want to greed too hard and get hit by this AoE. I don't have a way to properly dispel these guys. Here, we'll potion. Make sure that I'm not standing in bad here. That would be pretty tragic. Nice.